What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well today. I am most certainly doing well today. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Before we get into all of today's stuff, please, everyone, smash that like button. Turn on those post notifications. Subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. And, of course, much more. We got a ton of great stuff to talk about in today's stream. First, we are going to be going over the New York Mets and San Francisco Giants series summary. Then we are going to transition into the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks series preview. And then, of course, we are going to be going over your guys' comments, questions, concerns, any news overall New York Mets related. We'll definitely cover it. And even if you're not a Mets fan, if you're a Blue Jays fan, a Phillies fan, we're going to go over all stuff in today's stream. So LFGM, and let's stop wasting any more time and let's take a dive into it. So the New York Mets are coming off of a huge series where they played the San Francisco Giants. It was a best-of-4 series, and I'm going to say I was very impressed with this New York Mets team. Coming into, the last stream we did prior to this, I really did express a little bit of concern for this Mets team. I said, if the Mets really want to show that they're worth being a really good ball club, they are going to have to get over the hump and beat this Giants team, at least split the series or arguably take it. And that's what they did. They won the series. They took 3 out of 4, and that was more than I hoped for. I was expecting them to take 2 out of 4, split it at least. But let's take a dive into it. So we know the first game was delayed. It was postponed due to rain, so it was part of a 9-inning doubleheader going on Wednesday. So diving into this game, as we could see, getting into Wednesday's game 1 of this 9-inning doubleheader. Trust me, I am glad that 9-inning doubleheaders are back. I really did not like the 7-inning doubleheaders. But getting into this first game of the doubleheader, the New York Mets had Tyler McGill on the bump, and Tyler McGill definitely did not have as good of a start as I guess we hope. Not concerned at all. McGill, they're all going to make mistakes. I'm not going to say, this guy is not going to make a mistake. They're going to make mistakes. I'm not worried. But McGill, he looked all right. 6 innings pitched, surrendering 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, totaled 87 pitches. The pitch count was a little bit of worry. Obviously, he got through that first inning fine. He got through the first inning 5 pitches. A lot of it was just light contacts out. And, we thought that hopefully that was how the game was going to go. And unfortunately, that was not the case. McGill got a little roughed up. Obviously, he really got beaten against the shift. A lot of the right side of the infield was shifting. And unfortunately, that did get to the best of him. And unfortunately, oh well. But I will say he was able to regroup, some of his pitches, whether it's mixing them. The fastball may have not looked super great. The velocity was there, but I don't know, maybe just the choice, whatever. It wasn't, I guess, ideal, as you could say. But not really super concerned. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say McGill's, never going to give up a run this season. He's going to give up runs. Trust me. He's not going to have, a 0 or a 1 or a sub-2 ERA. I'm sorry, but I don't picture McGill having that. Neither for DeGrom, any pitcher. But overall, solid outing, in my opinion, for Tyler McGill. Pretty impressive what we saw out of him there. Following that, Dooley Rodriguez came into the bullpen, Seth Lugo, Edwin Diaz, and, of course, Adam Ottavino. And this team looked really, really good. Obviously, they did walk off. This was the first Mets walk-off. The bullpen really did step up. This bullpen did a phenomenal job at doing what they had to do, get batters out, get out of inning. We had defense back us up this game. I will say in terms of this Mets offense, they were definitely huge. Obviously, taking a look-see at the Mets offense, going into the first inning, the New York Mets started things off with Starling Marte scoring on a wild pitch. Really interesting. Usually that kind of reminds me of like 2021 vibes, but that's how the ball game started off. Starling Marte scored on a wild pitch. Unfortunate pitch thrown by Alex Cobb. The Giants catchers did definitely have a unfortunate series behind the plate, whether it was Joey Bard or Kurt Casale. They definitely had an unfortunate series behind the plate, and the Mets took advantage of that. We saw a lot of the Mets, stealing go-ahead bases, and I think that was huge for them, honestly, winning this series. So really good to see them there. Following that, in the 5th inning, Jeff McNeil came into clutch with a 2-run RBI double. down the line, driving in Jankowski and James McCann. Following that, directly after that at bat, Francisco Lindor comes into clutch big time, having a double to right field, driving in Francisco Lindor. And of course, we go to the bottom of the ninth, and the New York Mets have runners on second and third with one out, and you think they would have got it, but unfortunately, Nito and Dom Smith were not able to get the job done, and we went into extras, and unfortunately, we did have to see this runner on second shenanigans, and the Mets got saved. Obviously, Francisco Lindor in the top of the 10th threw a little bit of a wild throw to first base to Pete Alonso, but Pete Alonso was really able to regroup, and he was able to make the great, I don't want to say dive, but the great save to keep his foot on the bag and keep that game tied. And then going into the bottom of the 10th, you had runners on third and first, runners in the corners, and Francisco Lindor hit a single to center field. So really good to see Francisco Lindor get his first walk-off with the New York Mets. Really needed that. So that was game one. Mets pick up game one. The win goes to Adam Ottavino. Getting into game two, this was game two of that night, and we had another interesting matchup. So it was a huge game. The New York Mets won this game 3-1. Huge game. We had Max Scherzer on the bump for the New York Mets, and I will say Scherzer had a phenomenal start. Phenomenal. You know, when the Mets signed Scherzer, this is what you were hoping you would get out of him. Games where he would be pitching against the Dodgers, the Giants, playoff teams, and give this type of production. Keep in mind, he had a no-hitter going into the sixth inning. But 7 innings pitched, surrendering 1 hit, a run, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. Phenomenal start. His command of the zone was there. The whiffs, the strikeouts. I loved what I saw out of this dude. I cannot express anymore how impressed I was out of Max Scherzer. Following that, Drew Smith and Trevor May came in, lights out, pitched an inning each, didn't give up a run. May's fastball looked pretty meaty, looked pretty good. You gave the bullpen a day of rest. That was really needed. But getting into the offense, it definitely was a little bit quieter. Going into the third inning, Eduardo Escobar had a double, driving in Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. So that was definitely very much needed. And, of course, following that, Dominic Smith had a base hit going to center field to drive in Eduardo Escobar. So Mets offense was pretty quiet this game. Obviously, it was a low-scoring game. Usually you see that in game two with doubleheaders. So I'm not like super worried. It wasn't really much of worry. But phenomenal game. Scherzer gets the win. May gets the save. I like what we saw there. Getting into game three of this series. Another interesting game. Unfortunately, the Mets did not win game three. The New York Mets lost this game 5-2. But I wasn't really pissed off. Why? Well, because the Mets honestly looked pretty interesting this game. They looked like they put up good at-bats. There was a couple unfortunate moments in this game, but they looked good, in my opinion, in game three. Obviously, you were facing Carlos Rodon, but you had Chris Bassitt on the bump. Bassitt definitely didn't have his best appearance. And I'm not going to say, Bassitt's going to be lights out every single time. Yeah, unfortunately, Chris Bassitt did struggle a little bit this outing, and hey, it happens. Chris Bassitt went 6 innings, surrendering 8 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts, only going 97 pitches. So, he definitely got a little worn out, a little tired. That first inning, I think the first 3 innings, he threw 30 or 50 pitches. So, that's definitely a lot. That's definitely a lot. So wasn't super, a little upset there, but oh well. Obviously, Chase and Treef came in following that, and of course, Sean Reed-Foley. And believe it or not, the one a few times Sean Reed-Foley goes lights out, it is when we are losing. So if that's not the Mets' luck, I don't know what is. In terms of this offense, it was pretty quiet. You were facing Carlos Rodon. I've expressed in the past, the Mets really do struggle against left-handed pitching, and we saw that. Regardless if it was a lefty or not, I definitely will say Rodon is one of the better pitchers in the league. I'm going to give the Mets some slack on that. But, good ball teams are supposed to rough up on good pitchers every now and then. So, not really concerned with that outing. I mean, it sucked. It would have been nice to take, that game. But, oh, well, what are you going to do? It's not the end of the world. So that was that. Getting into the Mets offense in the 7th inning, they did score late. You had Starling Marte had an RBI single to right center, driving in Luis Guillorme. And then going into the 8th inning, you had Mark Canha single to center, driving in Pete Alonso. But the offense wasn't super bad this game. I mean, Pete Alonso went 3 for 4. Eduardo Escobar went 2 for 3. Brandon Nimmo went 2 for 4. Unfortunately, yes, Francisco Lindor was kind of slumping this game. And I think that really says a lot. He unfortunately did end his on-base streak in this game. He went 0 for 4 this game, Lindor, so wasn't the best start, but what are you going to do? So that was game 3. The Mets lost 5-2. Bassett gets the loss, so unfortunate. And getting into yesterday's game, and arguably, I think my favorite game out of all the series, and I would imagine your guys' favorite game too. I mean, maybe besides the Max Scherzer outing, that was yesterday's game. And the New York Mets beat the San Francisco Giants 6-2. And we had Carlos Cookie Carrasco on the bump for this New York Mets team. And I mean, tip of the cap to Carlos Carrasco. He's really shutting everyone up. I mean, arguably could be comeback player of the year once again, maybe even an all-star. He's looking good. Going 7.2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts. We saw the command was phenomenal with Carrasco. We know the biggest thing for him was that first inning, and he got out of it unscathed, clean. That is what I was hoping to see out of Carlos Carrasco. He didn't really give up many barrels. I think he gave up 1 towards the end of this game, but he had the leads. That happens with a lot of guys. They get a little happy, and they'll forget, oh, you still got to pitch. But he looked phenomenal, I will say. I mean, he didn't give up much hard contact. He did give up, fly ball pitchers. So, Canna, the outfield was very busy, especially Canna. We saw a lot of third out balls to left field, shallow center. So Canna was running in. His fastball looked good. His changeup looked good. Overall, phenomenal start out of Carrasco, and I think that was his best outing as a New York Met. I will say that was his best outing. Following that, Dolly Rodriguez came in to face a batter, get 1 out, and Edwin Diaz came in. It wasn't a save situation, but he came in lights out to retire the 3 batters in the 9th inning. So Edwin Diaz, he's been looking good. So interesting start there. In terms of this Mets offense, that is what was up. In terms of this Mets offense, going into the first inning, Francisco Lindor did not waste any time. He was the DH, and we know Francisco Lindor does have good numbers in the DH role. He hit a homer to right field, 377 feet, taking it down the foul line. Awesome. Going into the second inning, Eduardo Escobar wanted to get in on the home run action. He hit his first home run as a New York Met to right field, going 356 feet. Following that, Tomas Nido hit a sac fly to right, driving in Jankowski. Going into the third inning, Mark Canha singled to left field, driving in 2 runs, Lindor and McNeil. Going into the 8th inning, Nimmo had a deep single, arguably could have been a home run if it was a juice ball, to drive in Luis Guillorme. Very impressive with this Mets offense. Very, very, very impressive. Great day from this Mets team. I mean, Lindor was the hero of this game, in my opinion. From the offensive side, going 3 for 4. Pete Alonso went 2 for 4. Canha went 2 for 4. Guillorme went 2 for 3. You rarely see that out of him sometimes. McNeil had a really moonshot double that just hit the humidifier on the wall, arguably 5 feet away from being a homer. So got to give Jeff McNeil some credit there. Was this close from hitting a 2-run homer that game. So honestly, kudos to Jeff McNeil. Really impressive there. So good to see out of Jeff McNeil. I like that. But the New York Mets took this series, and that was huge. The New York Mets won this series, like we said, 3-4, and I think that really says a lot. Sorry if I keep pausing. I'm currently a little under the weather, but sorry about that. As I was saying, the New York Mets took 3 out of 4 from a team that won 107 games last year. And, I get it, and that's what the goal was. I was coming on here saying, take 2 out of 4 and I'll be happy. We took 3 out of 4. Arguably, we almost were so close to sweeping. And, that was huge. I mean, taking a series, a 4-game series from a team that won 107 games last year, that arguably can win this NL West division, that's huge. And I mean, that is what you'd like to see. So good series there. So diving into what's going on ahead for the New York Mets, they will be going to Arizona, and they are currently there now for a 3-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yes, Mets and Diamondbacks are pretty fresh. They just saw each other, but now they are in Arizona. They are in Diamondbacks territory. And getting into game one will be tonight at 9:40 Eastern Standard Time. I know I hate West Coast games. I live in Florida on the East Coast, so it really is a pain in the behind to have to deal with, all these timing and, it's annoying. Trust me. But we will have David Peterson on the bump, the left-handed. I would guess I'd say the left-handed ace of this rotation because there really is no other left-handed pitcher in this rotation. He is currently in that sixth starting rotation spot due to the Walker injury. We will have David Peterson on the bump. Obviously, David Peterson has yet to give up a single run this season. Currently has a whip of 1.20, 8.1 innings pitched, surrendering 6 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Has yet to give up a home run, so that's good. He's limiting barrels, and I like that. That was an issue for Peterson a lot last year. He does have good numbers against the Diamondbacks, so I will say that. That's really big there. Obviously, things for Peterson, mixed up the pitches, throw the slider hard, be aggressive with it. We know the last Diamondback series, that Sunday he pitched, he would get into jams where you have runners on the corners, and he would get aggressive. He would have no outs. He'd try to get that strikeout and then turn the double play. So be aggressive like that. Really, hopefully, Peterson, I'm not saying, he's not going to give up any runs this season. No, it's going to happen. But, just overall, try and do the best of your ability for Peterson. And, of course, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, we'll have Zach Gallen, the right-handed ace of that Diamondbacks rotation. Definitely could be a pitcher to come in the next couple years. I know the Mets don't have the best numbers against him. I know when I believe the Mets faced him when he was in Citi Field, he only gave up 2 hits to them in 4 innings. So, Gallen, he definitely is an interesting pitcher, I will say. He definitely, maybe down the line with the right coaching staff. I don't know how his future is going to be in Arizona. We know that they are kind of in a rebuilding stage and they want to hurry that up, but who knows? Maybe he will be on the market. I'm not saying the Mets are going to go after him. Absolutely not saying that, but it could definitely be interesting what this Arizona Diamondbacks team wants to do with an ace like Zach Gallen. So really interesting to see coming ahead for them. So that was game 1. Getting into game 2, which will be tomorrow's game, Saturday's game. Currently, the starter for the New York Mets is unknown. It could likely be Trevor Williams. Obviously, due to that doubleheader, we don't know who exactly is going to start. But as of right now, Trevor Williams could likely make the case. Unless they're going to go for an opener bullpen role, which I would highly go against that because you don't want to do that to your bullpen such early on, especially in April. That'd be a really poor decision, in my opinion. Honestly, we're going to have to see who starts that game. It's probably going to be Trevor Williams. Trust me, as much as I don't want that, that's probably what's going to happen, and that's all right. And the Diamondback starter is also to be determined. So that will be game 2. And getting into game 3, Sunday's game, the 4:10 game, we will have Tylor Megill on the bump for the New York Mets. Super exciting. Obviously, he does have phenomenal numbers against the Arizona Diamondbacks. He has phenomenal numbers against him. So hopefully you can try and get a good outing out of there. Currently, Megill is looking really good on the season right now. 2-0, an ERA at 2.20, a whip of 0.92, 16.1 innings pitched, 13 hits, 15 strikeouts, 2 walks, and only given up 1 homer this season. So I will say he's limiting the barrels. He's limiting the hard contact. So I like that out of Megill. That's going to be a big deciding factor for him going down the line ahead. Overall, Megill, keep the fastball good, keep the slider good, keep the velocity up, sweeping slider. I like that. Megill has been looking phenomenal. And obviously, they will be facing the Arizona Diamondbacks, and obviously, they will be facing Madison Bumgarner, the left-handed pitcher on that Diamondbacks team. And, I know I just said, the Mets struggle against left-handed pitching, but I don't know. Bumgarner, obviously, he's not what he used to be, and he is the one of few lefties in the league that the Mets really beat up on. I really don't know why that is, but the Mets really beat up on this dude. And he unfortunately, as of right now, I'd say he's having a pretty solid season. Obviously, he kind of has that DeGrom effect where he's not really getting much runs. I think his last outing, he only gave up 1 run, and he lost it because the Diamondbacks offense has been horrible. And that, I guess, brings on to my next point, is this Diamondbacks team has one of the worst offensive productions in the league. I saw they were batting like .99, and that's right. They're not even batting over 100. So this is the Diamondbacks team that really, I would really hope they could beat up on. I'm not going to sit and say, the Mets are going to sweep the Diamondbacks. I would love that. But point is, they're a baseball team. You're not playing 5-year-olds. If you're playing a 5-year-old team, you should definitely sweep that, and the game should never end. But the Diamondbacks, they're a team. Teams like that could be sneaky. But good teams are supposed to beat up on bad teams. That's the point. You see these teams that want to win the division, they're supposed to beat up on bad teams. So hopefully that's what the Mets could do to the Diamondbacks. In terms of my predictions, I would really like to see them get the sweep. I really would, but I'll take 2 out of 3. I'll take 2 out of 3. If you only win 1, that'd be kind of disappointing. But take 2 out of 3, and yeah, that's really what I'm gonna ask for. Take 2 out of 3, and yeah, that's what I'll go for. So let's get into the chat. I see we got a ton of people in the chat already. I see we got Baker's dozen people in the chat. 13 of you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. So let's get into all your guys' comments. Alex, what's going on? Logan, YouTube Productions, Ibeen Dose, I'm doing well, man. Trey, Logan, Jack, Brad, what's going on? Yeah, I'm doing well, guys. I'm doing pretty well. Enjoying, New York Mets baseball. How can you not? Marco, Cal, Kobe, Daniel says, good to see Lindor off to a hot start. All the signings have been contributing. We still have holes with McCann, Cano, Smith, Davis, but I have faith their act will get together and hit. Yeah, I mean, you really want to see this, those guys specifically start to beat up. Really start to do something effective. I will say Lindor has been looking phenomenal. He looks like a much different player at the plate, and I think that's going to be huge for him. He has that tighter swing. Last year, he had such that long swing that really screwed him up. So phenomenal. Lindor's been looking phenomenal. He's going the other way. He's hitting for power. He's really doing a mixture of everything. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Lindor can keep up doing the work. Cookie Carrasco has been looking phenomenal, and I knew he would. I knew last year was kind of just that rough start for him. But yeah, I mean, McCann, he is honestly another story for another day. Cano, another story for another day. Dom Smith, another story for another day, and same thing for JD Davis. Maybe I'll make a video on those guys that's going up. We'll see. Trey says, are you worried about Seth Lugo? Yeah, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely a little worried about Seth Lugo. I think what you got to look at with Lugo is his breaking pitches have really been struggling. They've really been looking much different. The breaking pitches have been big. And I know, I'm not going to make an excuse and say, oh, it's cold. He's coming back from injury. Could be a possibility, something to possibly consider. But it really sucks with Lugo because he really hasn't been, in my opinion, the pitcher that he was hoped to be since 2019, maybe 2020. And I think, honestly, starting 2020 when Rojas wanted to put him in the rotation, I feel that's probably what screwed him up. I mean, he was a dominant setup man, 8th, 9th inning. He'd give the ball to Diaz, or I think we had Brad Brock back then in 18 and 19, and then he'd give it to him. Just little stuff like that. And I don't know, he's just been looking like a completely different pitcher. So, really hoping, fingers crossed, that we can try and get something different out of Seth Lugo soon. Big statement. Absolutely. Huge statement. What's going on, Seth? Appreciate you tuning in. We better sweep the D-backs. Yeah, I mean, take 2 out of 3. Sweep would be awesome. Seth says the Mets bats are looking good and ready to rumble. Yeah, I mean, they are looking beyond good. As of right now, I think we have to look at this Mets team. I mean, you could really say the Eric Chavez effect has been good. I mean, Eric Chavez really changed, I guess, how this New York Mets team is hoping to play baseball. I mean, we see them being much more fundamental hitting, 2 outs, hitting better with 2 outs. They have the best record and the best offensive production when there's 2 outs in the league. Hitting with runners in scoring position, stealing bases. They are first in the league in stolen bases. I know it's early, but still good. I mean, you have the speed with Jankowski. We have Lindor being sent. Yeah, I mean, Marte being sent. Maybe start setting Escobar a little bit could be nice. Maybe McNeil, maybe Nimmo a little bit more often. But you got to be smart. You don't want to be doing it, in the 7th inning, when it's a 2-run ball game and you have 1 out. No, unless it's to break up the double play, and it depends who's behind home plate. But yeah. Kobe says, I still can't believe the Mets off. Yeah, exactly like I just said, man. I mean, Eric Chavez and Wayne Kirby and Joey Cora, the coaching staff, have really been something. They really helped out this team. Connor says, MLB said they are likely to expand in 3 to 5 years. Where should they expand? Ooh, that's a good question. So kind of irrelevant. I'm wearing my Expos hat, but as of right now, there's a lot of great locations for baseball. My first ever video that I actually did on this channel was 5 locations for an expansion city. And I don't want to spoil it. Definitely, if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely check that video out. It's my first ever video. I know I recorded it. It was maybe the audio and that stuff wasn't the best, but point was, pretty interesting video. Got over 1,000 views. So I'm guessing you guys really did enjoy it. But in terms of places, I think Las Vegas is like the #1 place that I think deserves deserves an expansion city. I think Las Vegas does. I would like to see Buffalo. They have really passionate sports fans up there. You have the Buffalo Bisons. Yeah, I get it with the cold. I understand that. But hey, if Minnesota could do it, why can't they? If you get a dome stadium, I mean, it's going to come down to the money. That's all these things do. So Buffalo could be a nice location. Nashville, Charlotte, Portland, maybe New York could get another team. I mean, you could put a team in like Staten Island Buffalo is upstate New York. So yeah, maybe New Mexico. I mean, if you want to go abroad, New Mexico, Puerto Rico, travel could be an issue there, but that could be 2 locations. Florida would be nice. And one would be Orlando. I get it. Maybe Florida isn't a Major League Baseball place. For spring training, they do well, but maybe not for regular Major League Baseball during the season. But I think what you have to look at is Orlando. You have Disney, high tourist attraction, and you have a lot of little kids go there because of Disney. So you'd really connect to that young audience. I don't know, just to hear something out. If we're talking about Florida, Jacksonville could be a really interesting location. Yeah, I get it. They have a football team there, but it's also like in a really interesting area because it's close to Alabama and Mississippi. Those are huge 2 college baseball towns. They're huge. So maybe they do well there. I don't know. But those are just a couple. Great series, taking 3 out of 4. Exactly, man. Exactly, Cal. Galapos says, no question, Max is taking leadership in the locker room. New additions are true professionals. Lindor is beasting when it's that vibe. Imagine how fun the clubhouse is. Let's keep it going. Absolutely. I mean, pretty much what we had last year was really something else. So, yeah, we'll hopefully see how that stuff will go ahead. Daniel says, good to see Nimmo and Canna back from the COVID list, and Cookie is healthy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Nimmo and Canna really showed that this Mets team needed them. Obviously, taking a look-see, when they were on the COVID IL, we didn't have their appearances. And keep in mind, Nimmo and Canna, they're going to take a lot of the bats. You got to realize with these guys is that they're going to take a lot of at-bats. These are guys that will take a lot of at-bats, have great plate discipline, and that really boosts up the offense. And you didn't have those guys. And we kind of saw, I mean, the offense was, this isn't a D-backs series summary. We already did that. But, I mean, when we played the Diamondbacks, maybe they weren't like, I don't know, like super incredible or super great. I mean, I think they could have gone better. They had that one good game, and that was with Nimmo and Canna. But I definitely think they're going to have to continue to do well with, obviously, Nimmo and Canna. Jose, what's going on? He says, what's up, Hayden? What a team. Yeah, Jose, absolutely, man. Mets have been looking good. Like I said, it is early. So, I'm not going to sit here and say, they're a playoff team. It's official. But, as of right now, they've been looking good. Kobe, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he definitely did heat up a little bit during, September, August, the second half. And I think the one interesting thing with Francisco Lindor, like I said, he has that tight swing, which has been really nice for him. He got rid of that long swing. He's not, swinging at arbitrary pitches. The play discipline has been huge for him, and I think it's going to continue. Trey says this Mets team is scary without DeGrom. Yeah, I can only imagine what it's going to be like when DeGrom comes back. I mean, that is really just going to continue to, really help out this Mets offense when DeGrom comes back. It's going to be phenomenal. Karen, what's going on? Connor says, don't underestimate how much Wayne Kirby has helped as the first base coach, helping turn these guys loose on the base pass and having a great rapport with these players has quietly been a big help. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, last year's coaching staff was something else. And yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of these guys, Cora, Kirby, Showalter, they've they've been in the game for a while, and they've been with organizations that have a mixture of that modern day analytic and that old school mentality and just that great charismatic charm of a personality. And I think that's what you get in when you look at guys like Wayne Kirby, Joey Cora, Buck Showalter. So the Mets coaching staff definitely has been a huge part to this Mets success, obviously, like any other coaching staff would for, a really good team. So beyond impressive there. Really, really like that. Yeah, that's true. Got to wait till he's healthy. Ibindo says Mets lead the majors with 31 two-out runs. Looks like Eric Chavez is really helping this team. Absolutely. I mean, he really is. Like I said, the coaching staff is the one that helps out the team for the most part. If you have crappy coaching staff, you're probably not going to have a good team. I mean, look at them last year with Quattlebaum. What has been the most which Met has been the most disappointing for them? I mean, I would say McCann, but let's be real, we kind of expected that. I will say McCann has been looking much worse than what I expected. The big thing with James McCann was he has been looking horrible. Behind the plate from the eye test, I guess he's been looking good, but I guess analytically he's been bad. McCann has been horrible. I mean, offensively, this dude cannot elevate the ball. He has probably had 2 hits that were line drives that were hit pretty hard that were caught by the center fielder. This dude is a double play machine. And listen, I don't want to come on here and, shit talk McCann. I like to be a little professional on these streams, but I don't know what fascination Cohen, Scott, Alderson saw in McCann. I've expressed, the small sample size as an issue. Right now, you're screwed. I understand it. He's that little middle piece until Alvarez is called up. Okay, I understand that. And I get it. Now with the DH, you're not as, I'm not going to be as anal, I guess, with catcher's offense. But there's times where it's like you see the 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters who the Mets' bottom of the lineup has really been hitting pretty well. And you'll have Canna batting 8th or 7th. And then maybe Guillorme batting 9th and McCann batting 8th, and you'll have runners on the corners with 1 out, and then boom, McCann double play. Just little stuff like that pisses me off. So probably McCann, or maybe Seth Lugo, I guess. Did you see the benches clearing brawl in the AA game in Binghamton? Yes, that was in Binghamton. Yeah, I did see that. That was pretty crazy. I can't stand McCann anymore. That was a bad contract, and he can't. Yeah, exactly. Travis, what's going on? Absolutely. 10 wins. Yes, sir. Marco says it's crazy because last year the Mets weren't good with 2 outs, but now that's their bread and butter. Yeah, I mean, we saw last year this Mets team could not hit with 2 outs or with anyone in runners in scoring position, regardless of how many outs there were. And they really showed that they weren't messing around this year. So I really like that. Really starting to show that they could hit no matter what the situation is. Gallupo says, do the New York Mets have a Robinson Cano problem? Yeah, you absolutely do. Yeah, you absolutely do. I think the big thing with Robinson Cano coming ahead, it's tough. I think the PEDs really got to him, and I don't think he has any more power on his bat. I think his pop is done. I hate to say it. We see he hits these balls, and he's hitting these weak pop-ups to the first base side, going into foul territory. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, you're kind of in that situation. Do you buy out the contract? Do you play him? Do you bench him? Do you have him as that left-handed presence? Keep in mind, this Mets bench, the Mets bench downgraded. I mean, you saw what you had last year. Don't get me wrong. I think Jankowski has been phenomenal. I mean, I would have liked them to keep VR. I think he would have been better than what we're seeing now. I mean, J.D. Davis has been looking quiet. Dominic Smith and Robinson Cano. Those are 3 of your bench pieces there. Nothing. Good to have a DH in the 9th inning double header. Come back, the ghost runner on second. Yeah, it's not bad. Like I said, Dan, if you're going into the 15th inning, then go for it. But I'm not crazy about the ghost runner. Seth says, should the Oakland A's move to Las Vegas? Yeah. So pretty much, I don't know if you guys heard, but the Oakland A's had an attendance of 3 and 2,000 back-to-back days. It's pretty bad. It seems that the fans are boycotting the team due to, I guess, poor ownership, just not wanting to spend money and just sell and be cheap. And I feel bad for the A's fans. I think they're great fans. They're very passionate. There's so many, season ticket holders, and they're just not going to go. It literally reminds me of a 2020 game. So unfortunate. In my opinion, I think it's probably the best thing. They have their minor league team, former New York Mets minor league team. I think the Las Vegas 51s or whatever they are called. They have them there. So, like I said, Las Vegas baseball, it probably connect well. Tourism would be high there. They do pretty well there. Kobe says, Jeff McNeil back to his old self. I think so. Yeah, McNeil has been looking really interesting, obviously. He got rid of that launch angle style swing and just go for that regular, that uppercut launch angle style swing and just going for bat on ball, BABIP, put the ball in play, double down the line, base it down the line, go, bunt to the third base side. Taking some walks. He's been looking really good. Swinging at first pitches. Chase rate's been looking good. Don't pay attention to his baseball savant, hard hit rate. No, McNeil's not that type of guy for that. McNeil has been looking good, I will say. Is he back to his 2018, 2019 self? We'll see. I think there's, plenty of more time to prove it. I think he arguably can be an all-star this year. Especially looking at how kind of quiet the NL second basemen are. Maybe besides like Ozzy Albies, but I think McNeil was looking good, and we'll see. But I do like him batting. When he batted leadoff, he looked pretty good. Connor says, I don't care about Cano's contract. Steve doesn't care about his contract. I care that Buck is choosing to give him bats over Dom Smith and fielding opportunities over McNeil. Yeah, Dom Smith is kind of interesting. But yeah, fielding opportunities over McNeil is very arbitrary in my opinion. I agree. Eric says, hey, Hayden, I like what the New York Mets are doing. LFGM. Absolutely, Eric. I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, I'm loving what the Mets are doing. I cannot complain. Mets are looking really good, and I'll take it. Yeah, I agree. Dom isn't that much. Marco says, I went to game 1 of Tuesday's doubleheader. I enjoyed it, and seeing Lindor with the walk-off was cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I've never witnessed a walk-off in person, but that must have been really cool, Marco. I hope you enjoyed your time. And, yeah. Cal says, the Mets need to shift less. The Giants and so many other teams have proven they could beat the shift. Yeah, I will say the Mets and shifting is one thing I would like them to work on a little bit going ahead. Because the Giants, we saw this Mets and Giants series. I think it was the McGill start and the Bassett start. They got fried over the shift. We saw Guillorme got the Bassett start at second base, and he was literally playing right next to the second base bag. And boom, right, down, in between Alonso and Guillorme. Little stuff like that. So they got to work on the shifting. It seems like the Mets can never beat the shift when they're batting, and then teams can always beat our shift. Seems to be the Mets thing. Jose says, hey, Hayden, when are the Mets catchers going to start to hit? Yeah, Jose, it's frustrating. I think right now with the DH, I'm not going to be as, I guess, firm with catcher's offensive production with McCann, with Nito. And I guess if there's ever going to be a third catcher need be. I'm not crazy about it, but it's nice. You don't want to have to pretty much have a DH and say, oh, well, now everyone in our lineup should hit. Oh, but McCann could barely hit the blind side of a ball. That's right. So just have the pitcher bat. Like, what's the point? Yeah, I don't know. McCann, that ground ball percentage, the double play, he needs to start elevating the ball. McCann with the strikeouts, with the ground balls, the double plays. Yeah, McCann is what I really do worry about offensively. So many games last year. He has yet to ground into a double play this year, but so many games last year. You have runners on first and third, 1 out, double play. And it's just like, McCann, come on. But hopefully soon. I mean, I guess, Jose, your biggest thing is Alvarez. What are you waiting for? Seth says, LFGM, indeed. Trey says, Francisco Lindor is playing like the best shortstop in baseball. He's taking more walks, going deeper into at-bats, which is great to see. Hope he could keep it up. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's really what you asked for in Francisco Lindor. And yeah, I mean, as of right now, he's the best shortstop. We'll see if he can continue it. I don't think he's the best shortstop, but I think he can definitely consider, top 3, top 5, 100%. I think my biggest thing with Lindor is not to go to the right field, not to hit the ball to the right side. But he hasn't been doing that the last week. So hopefully he can keep it up, and we'll see. He's been looking good, though, I will say. Looking phenomenal. Harley the Salami, what's going on, man? He says Diamondbacks winning 11-2 over the Nats is an anomaly. I really think we could sweep this next series. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, it's against the Nationals. The Nationals have no starting pitching that really stands out. I mean, I think Josiah Gray got on them a little bit. Otherwise, they really have nobody. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not worried, Harley. Timothy says, should MLB award 2 expansion franchises to Montreal and Nashville beginning 2025? Yeah, like I said, I'm down for an expansion team. Like I said, I know we got a couple more people in the chat now. My first ever video on this channel was MLB locations for an expansion team. So definitely check that out. First ever video on the channel. I would love to see MLB expand. I think it'd be great for this game, and I would love it personally. Montreal could be great. Bring back the roots of Montreal baseball. Montreal baseball is very popular. You got to keep in mind, the Loria family really, really screwed up that Expos team. They made horrible investments, and they really screwed up that team. You got to think about it like that. And the stadium was a dump too. So talk about Tropicana Field if you want. Yeah. So I think obviously with the right ownership, money is really what it's going to come down to, and I think they could definitely do it. And Nashville, yeah, those 2 locations would be great. Great Nashville, great tourist attraction. They probably do pretty well there. Like Nashville Jazz. They have a basketball. Yeah, Nashville Jazz could be like a cool team. Yeah, Harley at Portland. Portland could be a great location. I agree. Jose says Escobar starting to punish the ball hard. I love it. Yeah, he's really been hitting the ball hard. And the walks. The walks for Escobar has been phenomenal. He leads the league in walks. Who would have thought? He has like 14 walks right now. Love it. Escobar has been looking like a great pickup. I mean, he always has for the 2 weeks, but definitely one of the best so far. Christopher, what's going on? Long time no see. I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Daniel says, when do you think we're going to see Mark Vientos on this team? Well, Vientos is going to be the DH, so that's good to have. And I guess that's a good, thing to have because, I mean, Cano's probably going to be gone next year. I mean, will J.D. Davis and Dom Smith be with this team coming the deadline or next offseason? We'll see. So you have Vientos and that DH role. I would say Vientos maybe next year, 2023. This is what I'll say. Vientos, Alvarez, and Mauricio, everyone else you're thinking of, 2023 and onwards. I think Alvarez will be 2023. I think Vientos will be 2023. Maybe you can make a case for Beatty, depending on the second half, if what the third base situation looks like besides Escobar. If you still have a Davis, I mean, maybe you could call up Beatty coming up September as a call-up. Maybe. But, yeah. Good question. Sternberg will sell the Rays to Portland. Interesting. Ruben says, think Francisco Alvarez will be called to AAA. Yeah, absolutely. He'll definitely make it to AAA this year. He's been raking in AA or high A ball. He's been looking really good. There's no doubt in my mind that he will make it to AAA this year. If you look at the numbers he's put up, it's phenomenal. Daniel says, how much time do you think the Royals and Mariners give Bobby Witt Jr. and Julio Rodriguez to their struggles? Well, listen, calling up prospects is a huge thing. And, the one thing you don't want to do is call a guy up early, they struggle, and then you have to send them down. That would suck. And that's why I don't want, everyone says, call up Alvarez. Wait, because I don't want that to happen to him. And he's also catcher, completely different position than an outfielder or first baseman or whatever. As of right now, like I said, I mean, Torkelson's been looking okay. I mean, I don't think he's looking horrible. He's looking okay. I mean, he's got a couple hits, so he's doing something. Rodriguez, on the other hand, yeah, I think he has like 1 or 2 hits this season, not much. The power for Torkelson is starting to come alive, so I definitely think that could be a case to keep him alive. So yeah, honestly, we're gonna have to see. But as of right now, I'm thinking maybe see how things go for another month. Kobe says MLB batting average 231 is the lowest in history. MLB OPS of 677 is the lowest since 1972. Home run rate, yeah, absolutely. The balls have definitely been they're not juice. They're definitely the dented, hardened balls. The big issue that we see right now is that we see so many balls. McNeil, for example, that McNeil double would have been a home run with the ball from the second half last year, or the 2019 ball. That would have been a home run, 100%. Fans want to see home runs in offense. I mean, don't get me wrong. Last year we saw like five. We saw like we saw like 5 no-hitters in April and May, and then like so far we've seen a couple. We've seen like 2 perfect games going to the 6th and 7th. We've seen a couple no-hitters mixed in almost. So we'll see. I think they're going to bring back the juice ball coming the All-Star break. That's what they always do, so they'll probably continue that. But I'm not like crazy worried. I mean, like I said, it's the league all around that's struggling with home runs. So we'll see. Daniel says, I love the Mets' speed and hustle pressure on opponents' defense, but that attempt, yeah, that was a little, that was stupid. That you don't steal. Give Lindor the at-bat. He was hot. I doubt he's going to go, to the right side to turn the double play. And even if you do, the speed with Marte and Lindor, the double play would be really hard to turn. And then you have Alonso on deck. So it's like, yeah, it was a pretty stupid call. Harley the Salami says, do you think we're winning more because Luis Guillorme without the beard scares the hell out of the pitcher? Hey, listen, I mean, he's put up like 3 hits since he shaved. So Guillorme has definitely been putting up much better numbers since he shaved. And it felt weird seeing him shave. I'm not used to it. Like, I look at him in the batter's eye and I'm like, who the heck is this dude? Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Guillorme is going to be an interesting piece. Yeah, if you guys have any more comments, questions, concerns related to the Mets, related to anything, don't hesitate. Drop it below. It could be about the Diamondbacks Mets series. We'll probably call it a stream in next couple minutes. If you guys have any more comments, questions, concerns, anything related to the Mets, don't hesitate. Do not fear. Don't hesitate. Definitely drop. Seth says, have you ever tried the churro dog at Chase Field? Never been to Chase Field. I've heard a lot about the churro dog. It looks pretty darn good. Churro dog Chase Field. Let's pull it up on Google. This is going to be Food Talk with Hayden. Yeah, that looks pretty good in my opinion. I mean, I would definitely eat this. I don't know about you guys, but I would definitely eat that. That looks pretty darn good. You could make a churro dog at home. I would definitely consider making a churro dog at home. Here, let's share my screen. We're gonna talk some MLB ballpark food instead for the next couple minutes. How to make a churro dog. So as you could see, this is the churro dog. It looks pretty good. I mean, you have obviously a hot dog bread, or I'm not really sure what type of bread that is. With some caramel and chocolate syrup. You have a churro. You have ice cream. You have whipped cream and caramel and chocolate. So that looks pretty darn good, I will say. I would definitely eat that. I 100% would eat that. Looks pretty good. I mean, it's probably like $3,000. And you can make it at home. So this guy's definitely enjoying his churro dog. So I would definitely consider, if I went to Chase Field, that'd probably be the first thing I buy, 100%. So I have not, but I would love to. I think the Mets putting up a ton of home runs in Arizona in the warm weather. Yeah, I think so too. In Arizona, they usually have good numbers there. All right, everyone. So we're probably going to call it a stream here. I really do appreciate you guys for tuning into today's stream. As always, it's been a phenomenal stream. Really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. We had a lot of great stuff going on. Really do, as always. The Mets, we went over the New York Mets and San Francisco Giants series summary, the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks series preview. And so much more. All you guys, great comments, questions, and concerns. I want to thank you guys for putting up really phenomenal questions and comments in the chat. I will say, like, you guys have been pumping out the chat with so much great stuff, and trust me, it really does mean a lot. Listen, thank you guys. Trust me, it's really been phenomenal. I know we're on the road to 700 subscribers, and I'm hoping we will get there. Maybe by the All-Star break could be nice. Like I said, if you guys know anyone, if you guys know any baseball fans, feel free to share the channel. Don't hesitate. Definitely share this channel with your friends. If you have to make an account for your dog, if you have a pet, I'd recommend it. But no, definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, if you are new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. If you're rewatching this on replay and you're watching the whole hour and, well, not hour, 52 minutes, whatever, 53 minutes, whatever, you're the OG. Give yourself a pat on the back. Definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. And yeah, LFGM, let's go Mets. Let's take 2 out of 3. And I will see you guys next stream. LFGM. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.